It's week 2, people. There was rain, there was wind, there was snow, and there was a 10K, so stay tuned. So first up, the weather. So of course, in those conditions, it was a bit less pleasant to get dressed and go outside if you could just stay on your couch and drink a tea. But captured by the motivation to run better than last week, I still laced up and went outside. But between us, it sucked to run if the wind kept pushing you back and blowing rain and water into your face. But after my runs, it felt all the better to have completed my sessions. But enough of this interesting weather talk. Let's jump into my first run. So I started off like last week, an easy 5K to begin a new week of training. I increased the distance slightly and I was able to run from the get-go at a 4:50 speed, so that was cool. As I mentioned before though, the weather conditions really were not optimal for running. I had to take different routes to avoid the strong wind, and due to the rain, my shoes were slowly filling up with water. On the bright side though, I felt like Rocky running on the deserted shores of the lake, and it was a great feeling of self-satisfaction when I was done running. On my second run, I initially wanted to run another 7K just like last week, but when I approached the 7K mark, I was in a really nice groove and I felt that I had the energy to run a 10K. So we ran a 10K. Even if my body might have not been fully prepared to run such a long distance at that point yet, I always find it interesting to see on yourself how your mind can push you to go on if you're determined to do it. That's like so inspirational. I ran at a 4:50 speed again, so my total time for the entire 10K was 48.5 minutes, so I'm more or less content with that result. My final goal though is to come as close to 40 minutes as possible before I start the intense phase of my training, but we'll see if I manage. The evening after the run, I could definitely feel the 10 kilometers in my muscles. My legs felt heavier than usually, but thanks to my cool down routine, the next morning everything was back to almost normal again. My third and last run of the week was a 7K, which I ran, surprise, surprise, at a 4:50 speed. The weather was way better than during the last 2 runs, and I was still really motivated from my results from the 10K, so it was overall a lot of fun to go out for that run and just be out in the sun. And that's already my second week of training. Just like last week as well, the goal of this week was to prepare my muscles and my bones to the impact of running. Overall, I'm really happy with this week again because I can really feel an improvement compared to last week. My calves get less tired, my breathing has become more steady, and I think that I can slowly focus to work on the speed, at least on short distances, instead of just focusing on running longer distances. As to the tip I gave you last week, that you should keep a steady pace, I should have maybe followed it a bit better myself. Even though my pace varied less than during last week, there's still definitely room for improvement. But running is a slow progress, and if you enjoy the run, then the results and the improvements will come automatically. My tip that I have for you guys this week actually was given to me by a dear friend of mine who's in med school. She told me that walking after every run is really important. Otherwise, your body might develop these pretty things. They're called varicose veins, and they cannot occur so much through running itself, but through the fact that you abruptly stop running and stop using your legs. In this case, the muscles around your veins in your legs decontract too quickly for your veins and the blood pressure to be able to adapt to the new circumstances, causing a certain backflow of blood down towards your feet instead of upwards to your heart where it's supposed to go. And then this backflow leads to an expansion of the veins, which in return can not only be an aesthetical problem but also a health issue. I hope I explained that well enough. So after running, be sure to walk a few minutes so that your muscles can decontract a bit more slowly. And if you want to take no risk at all, you can also prop up your legs once you're back at home against the wall, so that gravity will help bring the blood back from your legs towards your heart. And that's my second week of running. If you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.